A quick review of the 1976 film Rattlers. I guess you could call this a straight sci-fi film, but it's more definitely would not fall under horror, fall under sci-fi and kind of drama, really. This one was directed by John McCauley, who didn't really direct much. He did direct a 1985 film called Deadly Intruder. Looks like a pretty good one. Just like, but kind of a rehash, kind of like, almost like Halloween kind of rip-off thing if you look at the plot. But Rattlers came out in 1976, and I've usually watched the YouTube version of it because it's got more of a grainy quality to it. I did watch, for this time I watched it on Tubi TV, and that's a very clean upload. I prefer the grainy one almost always to the clean one, and definitely in this case, because the grainy quality of this movie, it just kind of adds more to the atmosphere of it, and to the there's a lot of like desert location to it. It just looks a lot better with the kind of like, that kind of B movie type of look to it, and this is more of a B movie. I don't know what kind of theatrical release it got, if any, but the comparison is to 1973, which is probably the better movie of the two. But I think I prefer Rattlers a little better. I mean, 1973 looks more like a TV movie, but it's got more shock to it. It's got more horror to it. I think it has the deaths are a little better. The pacing is better. The overall story is better. It's scarier. But I think I just kind of prefer the viewing experience of Rattlers a little bit better, even though it's like a kind of boring. It drags a little bit. Even the deaths are not very good. Like they're just they're kind of fast, and you don't really see anything. The snakes aren't even really that scary. Most of the snakes are stock footage, but you have Sam Chu, who sometimes he's billed as Sam Chu Jr., who is a herpetologist. So like he specializes in snakes, and he teaches at a college campus. And I wanted to see more of the college campus. You see at the beginning, he goes in the mail room, and he's talking to this other old teacher there, and there's a little classroom scene, which is kind of cool. But they kind of move away from it. I like the atmosphere inside it looks like almost this like community college type of place. But there's some deaths that happen in the town with rattlesnakes, and they're like, the snakes have become like overly aggressive, and he's called out to investigate and figure out what's going on. And they send him out there with a kind of like this journalist lady named Elizabeth Chauvette, who's really attractive. And some of the ways she delivers her lines in this, she's not a very good actress. But that adds to the enjoyment of the film. So they figure out that there's been some kind of the creatures have been infected by this mysterious nerve gas that was covered up. It was like disposed of in the desert by the military. And he goes to investigate to the nearby military and to talk to like the main general. And this general guy is played by Dan Priest, and he's the best actor in the film. To me, this guy's like the best. He's the highlight of the movie. He's got down the whole guy who's trying to cover up something really shady. He has a lot of seedy background of like murders and throwing this like I forget what they call it, like CTE I don't know if it's like an actual thing or if Rattlers, the writer, made it up, but it sounds like it would be a real thing. But its name is it's a General Colonel Stroud. This guy's like he's the best. Like and like he even like kills his deputy guy, not his deputy, but the captain at the end. And to me, that's where the movie really shines. The scenes with Colonel Stroud, and then his captain, Captain Delaney, played by Ronald Gold, who drinks a lot, and Colonel Stroud calls him a lush. But that's my favorite scene, the standoff between those two, when Captain Delaney finally like stands up to the colonel, like, I'm not going to cover for you anymore, and he's drunk, and it's a great scene because he reveals so much about kind of the backstory about how the colonel developed this CTE gas thing. He was going to win the war, and then there's this other thing that how they buried it in the cave, and then there's this other thing where he mentions where the captain mentions like him dumping some, I don't know if it's the same gas or different gas, probably the same thing, into the ocean in these barrels. What's going to happen when it rusts through? Can you imagine, like, you saw what it did to the snakes in the cave where we buried it. What's going to happen to, like, the sharks? It's like, that just, like, makes you be like, okay, give me a sequel to this film. And it's like, they couldn't resist mentioning sharks, like, the year after Jaws came out, and like the mid-70s, late 70s, all these bad Jaws rip-offs. Like, come on, and this is one. This would count as one, but it's like, the whole man versus nature thing, or nature's revenge against man, whatever you want to call it. Like, but a sequel where you have the gas like turning the sharks overly aggressive would have been, why not? Why not do that? But it never happened. Like, there was never a sequel to this. But those are the best ones. There's also the pilot guy who Pilot Hawkins, played by Dan Valentine, who accidentally kind of rats out, like, oh yeah, they buried something, because he's taking Sam Chu, the snake expert, over the desert, and he's like, yeah, we buried some he's kind of an idiot army guy. We buried some gas here in the cave. Maybe that helped. And then, of course, it gets back to the colonel, who's like muzzles him. And I try to upload some of these scenes to YouTube, but the copyright, it's all blocked, so you can't see it. Whatever, even though the whole movie's free on YouTube. But that drunk captain guy is played by Ronald Gold, who I don't think he was in anything else. But I'm pretty sure was he in anything else? He was in Brothers, 1977. He was in Helter Skelter, 1976. So he's been in a few things. But I think his son was also in this movie. There's another Gold, and it may have been one of the little kids who gets killed at the beginning. There's like two little kids who run out, and they're looking for a skeleton or something, and then they fall into a pit, and the snakes kill them. But this is a movie, this is a must-watch almost every year for me. I just like it a lot. So check it out, Rattlers, 1976. It is not the best horror movie, not the best sci-fi movie of the 70s, but it's pretty cool. And Sam Chu Jr., he has kind of a strange look, and he has a strange voice too. But it really fits the film, so I really like him, and there's pretty decent chemistry between him and the lead actress. So check out, Rattlers, 1976, if just kind of a check the box kind of thing. So, all right, that's my review of Rattlers, 1976.